So we're here today at Belfast City Hall where the count is taking place for the Northern Ireland Council elections 2023. Of course, there are counts taking place at various centres across Northern Ireland because there are 11 local authorities and there are 462 seats up for grabs across 80 local district electoral areas. But how does the count work to decide on who gets those seats? Well, here's a quick guide to show you how it works. So in Northern Ireland we use a system of voting for council elections called single transferable vote, or STV. It's the same system that's used in the Assembly elections, and what that is trying to do is provide proportional representation where there are a number of voices that have the potential of being elected to the various different council elections. Rather than simply marking an X in your ballot and having one councillor elected, there are going to be up to 7 councillors elected in each district electoral area. To be deemed elected, councillors are trying to reach a minimum number of votes known as the quota. Now, this quota is calculated looking at the number of people who have voted in a certain area as well as the number of seats that are available in that area. That comes up with the figure for the quota. Now, firstly, whenever people are counting the votes, they look at how many first preferences each candidate has received. So that's the number 1 on each of the ballot papers, and they tot those up for each of the candidates. And then whenever they see that figure, they will see whether anyone has reached that quota, reached that number to be deemed elected. If someone has reached that number, they're deemed elected. If they have more than that number in terms of their first preference votes, then they will have extra votes known as a surplus. In the next stage of the count, that surplus will be redistributed to the other remaining candidates, looking at really their second preferences on those ballot papers, so the number 2s on the ballots, and redistributing them on that basis to the other candidates. Meanwhile then, the candidate with the fewest votes is eliminated from the process and their votes are redistributed to the remaining candidates to try and reach that quota. Now, this process continues through a number of rounds until we have enough candidates who have reached the quota to be therefore deemed elected and all of the seats to be filled. If we reach the end of the process and there are still some seats that remain empty and we still have some candidates in the race who haven't reached that quota, then those candidates that are closest to that quota will be deemed elected. So that's how it all works, but of course, because of that complicated process, it's going to take a bit of time. So we're expecting that this count is going to go well into the evening today on Friday and then continue again on Saturday, and potentially for some counts across Northern Ireland where there are multiple candidates, it could continue into Monday as well. So if you want to check out the latest results, make sure you stick with Belfast Live.